2023, and the time is now 6:30 p.m. I will now call the regular meeting of the ISD 191 Board of Education to order. I am filling in for Chair Hume tonight, and I'm appointing Director Miller as clerk for tonight's meeting. Welcome to those all who are here in the audience, as those who are watching online. Director Marcel, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Director Miller.
Second.
Second by Director Connor. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Tonight we will receive a report about district assessment program from Amina Oftedal, Director of Curriculum, Instruction and Assessment, and Dr. Brandon Lowe, Coordinator of Seesaw Assessment, Data and Research. Welcome.
Chair Kester, members of the board, Superintendent Battle, thank you for having us here this evening. We are really pleased to be able to share this brief report on the District Comprehensive Assessment Plan. In accordance with Policy 613, the District Comprehensive Assessment Plan and schedule is to be brought to the school board for your review and approval. So today, Dr. Lowe will share some high points of that particular comprehensive plan, and then it will be on your agenda for approval at the next meeting.
Great.
So I just wanted to get a few things in your mind as you look at our plan. I want to tell you how we developed the plan, and then state requirements for testing, and then finally limits on testing minutes for students. Those are going to be the three things that I address here. So the plan was developed as a collaboration between principals and leaders of special education, multilingual services, and then CESA, of course, my department. We held virtual meetings in March to May, and I brought an initial draft of the plan to the principals in those meetings, and then between meetings, they were taking that back to staff that they wanted to get feedback and input from. I went to cultural liaisons and then also the school assessment coordinators for feedback on the plan. I want to draw your attention to state requirements. We are required, of course, by Minnesota to do some certain assessments. So the MCA, Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment, we have access for ELLs that we have to administer. Those are, of course, in the plan. Then there are other assessments, screeners, for example, that we are required to provide to our students, but the state doesn't tell you have to use, this specific one at this point. And so right now, we have selected FastBridge as our screener and as our interim assessment throughout the year, so you'll see that. So while the state doesn't require FastBridge itself, it does require something. And so I just wanted to draw your attention to that, to make sure that, we're all aware that, the idea of over-testing our students, I think that we make it a priority to not do that, to really do what's required and what we know will be beneficial to our students, but not, go really deep into that side of things where it has a tendency to go. And then I also wanted to just point out that there are statutory requirements regarding the minutes per year that students can be tested. So, for example, in 1st through 6th grade, students are not to be tested more than 10 hours in the school year total. And so one of the last pages of the document that you've received breaks down, grade level by grade level, how long students will be testing throughout the year if they use the maximum amount of time that is expected to be used on those tests. And so you'll see that we're, well below that maximum with all grades. Our longest, the grade level where there's the most amount of testing is 4th grade. And 4th grade is, it's there because we test COGAT. So the the students who could potentially receive advanced learning services. So that is a long test. That's one of our longest ones, and we do it during 4th grade. So that's why you'll see that. I don't think that we are not close to it in any of the other grade levels. And you'll see that chart toward the end. And then the final page, I'll just draw your attention to the final page of that document, lists the changes. We're not making any dramatic changes, this year, but it does just kind of pull those out in case you're wondering how is this year's plan different from the last.
I'd also like to add that the screener that we use for reading already aligns with those that have been approved by MDE under the new READ Act that was enacted this spring. And so we feel as though we're on the right track with that then.
Great. Thank you. Let me see if the board members have any comments or questions.
Just a quick,
Director Miller?
I'm intrigued by this, the time frame requirements element. I assume it's a definition of what testing falls inside of that schedule or whatever, that measurement, right? And so if I understand right, so it's a state statute is setting a limit on testing, but at the same time, the state statute is requiring a certain amount of this testing, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, just clarifying that.
And just to share a little bit of that definition, when we talk about testing, they're talking about assessments that are provided to students, to all students or the majority of the students within a certain group. So that's why we identify it by grade level.
Are things like ACT and SAT in that, fall in that same definition? Even
because
though those are essentially optional later on?
Right.
Much different than.
Right, and they're
past grade.
considered part of the assessment plan because they are offered to all the students at the grade level.
I see. And it's presumably, and I don't even know where I'm going with this, but presumably it's all academic level testing, correct? I mean, if we were performing any other kind of testing, athletic testing, anything like that wouldn't fall in any of those categories, right? Even though
That's
those
correct.
might be offered to all the students, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Great. Other comments, questions?
No question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will receive a report from Dr. Teresa Battle, Superintendent.
Thank you, Director Chester and members of the board. Wow, we are now less than a month from the first day of school. So tonight I just want to share with you and with our families reminders about a couple of things to do to get ready. We all see the back to school signs in our stores. So first of all, the first day of school for most students is Tuesday, September 5th. For kindergarten students, the first day is September 7th. Some students will start virtually so that the youngest students at those schools can take part in some special welcoming activities that day. So at Burnsville High School, Eagle Ridge, and Nicollet, students in grades 6 and 9 will go to school in person, while students in grades 7th and 8th and grades 10 through 12 will attend virtually. Burnsville Alternative High School and our best students will be all in person that first day. And of course, our 191 Virtual Academy students will be attending virtually. Second, there are a couple of things we ask families to remember to do each year. Check and update your contact information, including emergency contact, through Parent View. And if you do not have knowledge about Parent View, you can call your child's school. Make sure your child's immunization records are up to date, and consider subscribing to receive text messages from the district by sending the word subscribe, SUBSCRIBE, to 67587. One big change to be aware of this year is that school meals will be at no cost. They will be free to all students this year, and this includes breakfast and lunch. A la carte items will be at a cost, and second meals will also be at a cost. Even though meals are provided at no cost to families, we continue to ask you to fill out an alternate educational benefits application. Doing so will ensure families will receive other benefits like waived fees for athletics, activities, and more, and it also ensures that we will receive funding that our schools need. That alternate application will be available soon, and we'll send out a reminder to families once it is ready to fill out. All of this information and a lot more, including open house dates for each school and school supply lists, are available on our website at isd191.org. So sorry, my wonderful students, it's less than a month away, and that concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rattle. I know, I can't believe that. Do board members have any reports they wish to share tonight? I know that committee reports happen at the next board meeting. Seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda. So now we'll be moving to the business portion of the board meeting, starting with the consent agenda. Although board action is required, it is generally unnecessary to hold discussion on these items. In the event a board member wishes to discuss an item, that item will be moved for separate consideration. Do board members wish to remove any of the items in the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda? Moved by Director Marcel,
Second.
second by Director Connor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. We are being asked to approve, now we're in new business, we are being asked to approve on a first reading basis changes to a few policies, so I will try to slowly read them all so I catch them all. Policies 902, use of school district facilities and equipment. Policy 214, out-of-state travel by school board members. Policy 421, gifts to employees and school board members. Policy 511, student fundraising. Policy 722, public data requests. And Policy 905, advertising. We have Stacy Sovine, Executive Director of Administrative Services, presenting. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you, Director Chester, Dr. Battle, members of the board. On June 20th, 2023, the policies that you read in the recommendation were reviewed by the Policy Review Committee. Many of these changes were initiated through MSBA as they update their policies. Some of them had a little bit of alignment that we had to adjust our current policies to match MSBA, and some were just a little bit of a change in practice, specifically 902. Where 902 has built into the policy a number of different things around our facility rental fees and equipment. We cleaned up the policy, and then annually the Director of Community Ed will be bringing for approval fees and for the rental for the facilities and also for the support that goes along with that. So once this policy moves its way through, then Mr. Sellers will be bringing forth the fee schedule for that. Otherwise, the changes, except for the data privacy information, were pretty straightforward and simple.
Is there a motion to approve the first reading of all of these policies?
So moved.
Moved by Director Connor,
Second.
second by Director Marcel. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Stacy. And this, concludes already the regular portion of our business meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn to a workshop for an outdoor playground update?
So moved.
Moved by Director Miller, Second by Director Marshall. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. The meeting is now adjourned at 6:45 PM. That's fast. I don't even, do we need a break?
No.
No.
Well, she does, she has
Yeah,
stuff for us.
we have to sign. Okay, so we'll do 5-minute break, and then we'll start our workshop, because we have some stuff.
Yes, how fast you sign?
I got to scribble.
So roughly 20 years ago, we put a fence around the playground area that is currently out there for early ed, for childhood community ed out there. And I'm not exactly sure what the details were. As to the fence, I think it was just an area that was put up, again, that secured the playground and possibly went to the bottom of the hill because it seemed like a natural place to put the fence, and we didn't have to go through trees that were in place. So it probably just looked like the natural place to put it. So over the past few months, the district has been planning and working with the developer for the outdoor classroom. And at the same time, Real Life Cooperative of Burnsville has been working with the city of Burnsville to use some of the easement area to put a pathway from Pheasant over here, this street over here, over to Pillsbury. And through that process, both the district and the co-op had used the same surveyor to look at the boundaries and everything else as we were going through that process. Well, that's when it was discovered that we have a fence that is actually on the co-op's property. So we're only talking about 1,500 square feet, roughly. And with that, it's like, okay, we could modify the design of the playground, but that part of the playground is designed for, or the classroom is designed for a hill with the elevation. It has a number of different features that'll go along with that. So because, and then we also checked with Stacy from Ellers and kind of came up with a rough price point, somewhere probably between $7,500, $10,000 is what we think is fair on our side. And we decided, well, it'd be easier, quite frankly, just to purchase that portion of the land. We've been using it now for over 20 years, and we would just like to be able to move forward with that. So last week, Jason and I went and we met with the co-op for an informational meeting during one of their board open sessions and presented the same information as we are right now, and presented that it would be our desire to move forward and try to purchase that portion of the land. They had a number of questions to be expected. It's like, how will this impact the trees? Does that mean the pathway is going to be that much closer to their residence area? A number of detailed types of things like that. But they have a very specific process, much like we do on our side, that they're going to have to follow. The residents actually have to take a vote to approve this type of action. So talking with them, they are seeking more information. They're looking and trying to get the area appraised as to actual value. Their attorney, they plan on bringing it back in early October for action on their part. So during that same time period, we will probably start laying the groundwork with our attorney for a purchase agreement, and if they do vote to move forward with this, then we'll start the actual negotiation of what that looks like, and we are hoping that sometime, possibly midwinter, we'll bring stuff back to you. Again, their process includes taking a vote with the residents, their governing board, then they have to take it to HUD for approval as well as to the mortgage holder.
Sure.
So they have a number of steps in which they're going to have to take. Now for us, what this means for our outdoor classroom is we are only focusing on the north side, only focusing on the elevation that is flat at the top of the hill. We will have that completed before school starts. The portion that was going to be built into the hill, we will take that equipment, we will store that until this is resolved. We have a second phase that'll go into effect next summer anyway, and that's when we will start hopefully moving forward with the way it was designed.
Nice. Great. Questions? Dr. Conner?
Okay. Yeah, so you mean there's already playground equipment in that area, and you're gonna take it up and remove it and store it until this is worked out? Because I know you said it was on.
We purchased, like, there's a slide, there's like a little amphitheater, there's steps. This is all new. Okay? So we're not going to install any of that new stuff that was for the hill
Okay.
until after this is resolved. All of the old has been removed. And actually, they're starting to put in new equipment. You can even see it tonight already.
Okay. So there just will be nothing in that area then? Okay.
Not on that hill. Yep.
Director Miller?
The vote that the residency will take, do you know if it's a simple majority?
I do not know that information. I don't know what their bylaws are with that. So it's, the conversation, and we spent probably close to 30 minutes over there. They had, different questions, but overall, we felt that it was very receptive, the folks that were there. Probably 40, 50 people were there. They understood. They are concerned about the welfare of the children, because they do still believe a fence should be there for them, the safety and for the kids and everything. And it's like, oops, and we want to move forward. And so we're optimistic, but at the same time, as a co-op, they're partial owners, so they're going to do their due diligence in deciding if it's a good thing for them and their home.
I was just going to ask if we anticipated any sort of substantial impact then to the classroom for the area not being like completely finished while we're in the process of waiting.
The hill currently was not, didn't have equipment on it. Again, it just seemed like a more natural place, I'm assuming, like a more natural place to put a fence at the bottom of the hill versus part way. Part of the reason may have even been kids running off the flat part thinking, I bet I can clear the fence if I get enough speed. I don't know, so that's why it's down there. So what's going to end up happening is that portion, again, will just remain untouched until we can hopefully reach some type of an agreement.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Thank you for the update.
You bet. Thank you.
That concludes our workshop, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks for the next board meeting.
Next Thursday.
Well, next
Oh,
Thursday
that's
for
right.
the retreat
Oh, we have a
workshop.
retreat.
Retreat.
Yes.
Yep.
We'll just say